Are you lacking in self trust right now? Well, today I'm going to talk through how you can work through this. And if you stay until the end, I have an extra special point for you then. Now, many times in my life, I have doubted myself. I've doubted myself in terms of what actually am I capable of? Like, remember at times, like, what if I said the wrong thing at school? Or what if I don't trust myself to do a certain, go for a certain sporting activity? Or what if I mess up at work? Or all these trust issues that I just didn't believe in myself. And I realized as I went through some of these things that I really need to look after myself better. I needed to build a better inner relationship with myself as a result in order to build this self-trust. Now, I'm going to go through some points today. I'm not going to make it too long today's episode because I want to make it short and snappy and simple. But ask yourself this: how does it impact you on not trusting yourself? What does it do for your quality of life? Are you perhaps in a work situation, a business situation, a relationship situation, and a health kind of situation that you don't like because you don't trust yourself to do the things you're meant to be doing? Well, if you're anything like me, it's cost me a lot. And that's time I'll never get back. Now, there's no point whinging about it now because, or crying about it now because, not that I'm saying it's not healthy to feel your emotions and cry and work through things, but it's not useful to obviously dwell too much in the past and say, oh, I should have done this. I should trust myself more. It's more about how we apply it going forward. So that's what I want to talk about it now. So I I want to give you the first point. And the first point is stick to the commitments you say you're going to do. Nothing will break your trust than doing something well, not doing something you say you're going to do. Let's use an example of another person. If your friend was like, all right, we're going to go to the gym together tomorrow. Great. And you were like, yeah, committed. And you didn't show up. Do you think they'd lose a little bit of trust with you? Yeah. If you did it a second time, absolutely. Did it a third time, they're not showing up with you again. If you were just like dating someone and you said, right, let's meet at the cinema at this time, which I wouldn't recommend as a good first date because you don't get taught much. Anyway, that was a bad example. But let's say the second date, you were like, let's go and go for a drink at this meet at this quiet bar or whatever, and you didn't show up, and you didn't show up to this first one. I mean, you might not even get a second one if that happened the first time. Okay, you're going to lose trust from that other person. All right. The problem is most of us do it to ourselves. We put commitments like, I'm going to go to the gym and you don't show up. I'm going to do this assignment today or this project or start this project and you don't do it. I'm going to write the outline of my book today and you don't do it because you get caught by day-to-day life. Nothing's going to lose trust by you more than you breaking your commitments yourself. The second one, remind yourself. So start making smaller. So going back to the first one, start making smaller commitments you can commit to. Sometimes I've done this when I've committed to too much. I'm like, I'm going to do this, and this. And I've just got frustrated when I've not done it all. So make sure what you're setting yourself, you can stick to. Don't make it too easy for yourself. Push yourself a little bit, but make it sustainable and stick to it. Second one, remind yourself what you've overcome. Right. Many times we like just our brain's wired to think of the negatives. It's often a survival mechanism. And it's because we're not like trained on confidence and self-esteem, which is why I created this podcast through like school, through work. Although, it's like been slightly better on the mental health side over the last 5 years. But we're not like trained on how to think great about ourselves, typically. So therefore our brain defaults to a negative. And if you don't train yourself to think every day, like, or at least every week, what have I overcome? Like, I once was trying to drive a car and I thought I wasn't going to do it. And then you did it and you remind yourself of that regularly and you feel into it. Well, you can start feeling that trust within yourself because you've overcome barriers from the past. So regularly keep reminding yourself of all the things you've overcome in the past. And then the third one, to really build trust in yourself, And this destroys me, because I see someone who's worked in sales, someone who's worked as a coach and selling his own services. This is where I see people like destroy themselves on. And it's not necessarily because they got a lack of resources, it's a lack of resourcefulness. And also, I obviously didn't ask the right questions or do a good enough job to help guide them through their thinking at the time as well. It's when people don't invest in themselves. Now, this can be money, this can also be money, and this can be energy. If you're like going, well, I just want to do the cheapest thing possible to transform my life. I'm only going to listen to free podcasts. I'm only going to buy cheap books, and I only want to pay like £40, $50, like for someone, even though you've got even maybe you've got much more of a budget than that, because I want to keep everything cheap. Well, you're saying to yourself, you're not worth the investment in yourself in terms of money. Or you want to join something that's going to transform your life, it's going to take a bit of time and energy. Like, no, it's a lot of energy. You're telling yourself you're not worth it. So start thinking about an area you'd like to develop, and actually who can show you the way, what program can show you the way, and how can you get resourceful to get into it. Because that'll build your trust. When I've made those risks, those gambles of like, when I haven't had the money to invest in myself, found a way and jumped into something, or I haven't had the time, yet I found the time to go through a certain program or what a coach has given me. That's when I've built the most amount of trust within myself, because I'm like, look, Johnny, it's going to be hard and tough, but you are worth it because you're an amazing human being. So that's the third one. Now, I've got an extra point for you as well. And this is called daily inner child work. And what this involves is you sitting with yourself, the inner child, the younger version of yourself, and telling yourself you're worth it and you trust yourself and you love you, because you build that relationship with the younger version of you. And therefore, you're able to move forward as a result of this. Okay, so just my suggestion is practice 5 minutes, listen to a kind, gentle bit of music or a song, and just connect to the 5-year-old version of you. Tell them you love them and you trust, and for them to trust you, and then watch yourself start growing in self-trust as well. So that's what I got for you today. I said it was going to be short and snappy and to the point. Just some simple things to incorporate into your self-trust. Don't overcomplicate it. Pick at least one of these things. If you just listen to this and think, oh, great, you don't implement it, your life's not going to change. So that's what I got for you today. You're improving other people's lives by being the best you as well. Remember that. And remember, you are in control of your own self-esteem and confidence.